Akula.com is a web startup that specializes in data integration through their web platform. The team comprises of 3 members, a project lead, and 2 members, George and Arun namely. The project team's work primarily involves getting data from clients, profiling the data, which usually takes around 2 hours. Now, if there's an error in the data, it goes back to the client and the process has to start all over again. And the probability of this error is very, very low. If there are no errors, which is usually the case, the data is loaded into the software. And now this process takes around 12 hours to complete. It is long and usually takes people from 2 shifts to handle it. And then once the data is passed and generated, the client views the data in terms of reports, which is then sent back to the client for analysis. This is Arun, the team member who works in the morning shift. He works from 8 to 5. Now, normally the data arrives in the morning between 8 and 5, and it's up to Arun to profile the data and load the data. Now, since the loading process takes 12 hours, Arun leaves the office at 5 p.m. and George comes into the office then, and he stays in the office from 5 p.m. to 3 in the morning, and he takes care of the rest of the loading process.
And this is Sanjit, who is the team lead for ETL Champs. Now let's look into a typical day of work at Akula.com.
The time is 2:20. It looks like Arun has got a message from home. And he decides to leave. He's going to meet his manager before leaving for the day and inform him of his emergency. Arun has decided to leave and he checks his email for one last time. To his horror, he discovers a new profiling request from a client, and this usually takes 2 hours. And George is not due in the office until 7 p.m. As Arun wonders what to do, an idea suddenly strikes him. Why not load the data directly, since the probability of error is anyway very low? Nobody's going to find out that he skipped a step. Alright. Hi Arun, what's
Hi
happening?
Sanjit, actually I have a personal emergency, so I have to leave now.
Okay.
I have a mail from the client regarding the data profiling.
Okay.
So I did verify it and it's errorless. I just kept on the loading thing, so we should not create anything. I'm leaving.
As long as it's verified.
Yeah, I have verified
And
it.
George will come and take care of it.
Sure, that should not be an issue. Thanks a lot, Sanjit.
Good day. On his way out, Arun decides to call George and inform him about the scenario.
So since now the data has been loaded, Sanjit decides to call the client and inform that the data will be available for reporting tomorrow.
Hi Mark.
Hey Sanjit, what's up?
Hey, one of our associates picked up on your data request. He's profiled it and there are no errors. So you should be getting a report soon.
Awesome, thank you man.
Hey, good day Mark.
Yeah, you too.
It's 7 p.m. now and George is coming into the office.
George is at work and it looks like he has no work to do. Meanwhile, Sanjit is arriving towards George's workstation.
Hi Sanjit.
Hi George.
Yes.
Arun told me about the data loads.
Okay.
He's profiled it and there are no errors. So the client's expecting the report tomorrow.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
George suddenly remembers his task and decides to check on its progress. The loads seem to be progressing well. However, out of curiosity, George decides to recheck the step Arun skipped. Even if there are errors, he may not be able to do anything significant. But the impact on the client might be huge because they'll receive erroneous reports. He profiles the data for an hour and he's shocked to discover 2 mistakes. So, what Arun told him was wrong. There were indeed errors. The errors are a part of a report infrequently used by the client. Now, George contemplates what to do. It looks like George has 3 options. Option 1 is to call Sanjit, his manager. This way, the clients can be informed about the error in the report. Also, it saves Sanjit from sheer embarrassment. But the downside to this is Arun is going to be in deep trouble. Second option is to ignore the error altogether and bank on the fact that since the error is in the infrequently accessed part of a report, it will not be found out. This definitely saves Arun from trouble and embarrassment. He can fix the data in the next load, which is going to happen the next day. The only thing that pricked George's conscience was that if this data was accessed the next day, Sanjit would be in trouble. He didn't want to put a man who hadn't done anything in trouble for no fault of his. George's third option is to stop the loads, fix the data, and load the data again. This way, it saves both Arun and Sanjit if the loads complete on time. But the negative side is that if the loads are not on time, the investigative team could find out that George meddled with the loading process and could mean his termination even. Now it's critical that George makes a decision in time because every passing second increases the risk on one of them. After contemplating for 5 minutes, George recalls the lesson he learned in ISYS 630 during his days as a student at Texas A&M University, and he decides to do the right thing.
Hey Sanjit, this is George. I guess you know that Arun had an emergency today and he had to leave early. So you told me that he informed you that there are no issues in the file, but it looks like the file has 2 issues in an infrequently accessed part of the reports. So what I would say is go ahead and inform the clients regarding this because if they do happen to access the reports tomorrow, it will definitely damage the reputation of the company as well as your reputation. So just go ahead and inform them that and talk with Mark and make him understand that this was due to a personal emergency that the employee had to tell like this. And I can fix this tomorrow for you and make sure that the data is available on Wednesday. Okay? Thank you. Bye. So it's the next day at Acola.com and Sanjit is a little depressed with Arun for what he had done. However, Arun decides to come and apologize to Sanjit.
Come in.
Hi Sanjit.
Hi.
Sanjit, actually I'm sorry. Yesterday I had a personal emergency, so I did leave early. And I just wanted to confess that the data reports loads, I did rectify it and checked it and I gave a green signal that it's fine. So I just realized that it has some errors. I just wanted to beg pardon to you. I won't repeat this again.
It's okay, but next time you should inform me of the situation. I understand it's an emergency and you would actually worry. I'm gonna have the loads postponed to the next day.
Sure Sanjit, I will keep this.
Please make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah Sanjit, thanks a lot. I won't repeat this.
Our lesson from this is to always do the right thing, especially in an office scenario where there's a lot of stakeholders involved. Even in case of personal emergencies, people always do understand and will make considerations for you. But it's always important to act ethically.